So, like, have you ever been stuck, like, waiting in line at the bank, watching the clock tick, tick, tick away, and you're thinking, it's 2024. Shouldn't managing my money be, like, as easy as, ordering something online or, like, booking a ride? Ugh. Well, good news. That's what today's deep dive is all about.
Yeah.
We're diving deep into next-gen finance revolution. Digital excellence can't wait. And trust me, the future of finance is way more exciting than, like, that bank line.
What I find really interesting here is that it's not even just about convenience, right? It's actually a way bigger deal. It's like a fundamental shift in how we think about value.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to our money.
Totally. It's like, I expect things to be instant, personalized. I'm not going to waste my time with some clunky app. I'm just going to find one that works.
Right.
And, like, it turns out a lot of people feel that way. This article, it says that a crazy 73% of banking, like, globally, all the interactions with banks are actually digital.
It really makes you think that's like almost 3/4 of everything we do with our money now is online, on our phones.
It's wild. It's wild.
It's not even the future anymore. It's now.
It's true. And then, get this. 62% of people, this is from a survey, said they basically cannot live without their mobile banking apps. Which, I mean, honestly, I get it.
Oh, yeah.
I use mine for everything. But here's the thing. The other side of that coin.
The article also mentions that like 68% of people, when they have a bad experience with digital banking, it's almost like it's like a slap in the face.
Yeah.
They feel like it's disrespectful, like the bank doesn't respect them.
You're right. Who wants to feel like their bank doesn't, like, even care about them?
Exactly.
Right. It's like a relationship now, right? Your bank, it's like pretty close.
It's a relationship.
And so if they're not respecting you, that's a problem.
It is a problem, yeah.
68% finding it disrespectful, that's huge. And, this is where it gets really interesting because the article, it actually highlights this trend. So consumers are actually saying they're going to start using more and more fintech products, like by a lot, by 41%. So fintech, just so everyone's on the same page, is financial technology. It's all those cool companies that are using tech to kind of like shake things up in the financial world. Think, like apps for paying your friends, online loans, even those robo-advisors for investing, stuff like that.
It's really interesting because it's not just about like these traditional banks, are they going to lose customers? It's way deeper. It's about how we, as just like people, we're starting to maybe trust these tech companies more than, these big institutions that have been around forever.
It's true. Like, think about it. A 14-year-old app, you probably have clothes older than that.
Probably.
Okay, so like traditional banks, they got to step it up, right? Clearly. But the good thing is this article, it doesn't just, point fingers. It digs into the why. Why are they struggling? And one of the biggest reasons, their systems are like ancient. Like, we're talking ancient Rome old. Apparently, the average age of the IT, like the computer stuff at a bank is 14 years old.
I know. Can you imagine? It's like trying to like race a Tesla against what? Like a horse and buggy.
Seriously.
The technology, it can't keep up. And, on a practical level, what that means is these banks, they're stuck with these old computer systems that half the time nobody even knows how to work on anymore because the programming languages are so old. So to find someone to fix them, good luck. You're going to pay a fortune.
Yeah, you're going to be waiting in another line for that upgrade probably.
Exactly.
So it's not just about like a fresh coat of paint on the app, right?
Right.
It's got to be like a whole engine rebuild.
Yeah, a complete overhaul. And especially when you remember, fintech companies, they're not waiting around. They release new stuff like every 2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
While the banks are stuck in this like 4 to 6 month cycle, it's a huge difference.
It's like a snail versus a cheetah.
Exactly. It's a huge disadvantage.
So how are banks supposed to like even compete, right? Like what does digital excellence even mean for them at this point?
Well, luckily the article, it lays out like 5 key things, 5 challenges that they really have to tackle. And it's not all doom and gloom.
Okay, good.
There are things they can do. So you want to unpack those.
Let's do it. I'm ready. All right, so 5 challenges, right? On this road to digital excellence, what's like the first hurdle, the big one?
Well, it all starts with the customer, right? It has to. You got to nail that experience. Like you were saying, nobody wants to use an app that feels like a chore.
For real, like this is my money we're talking about.
Exactly. It's got to be smooth. It's got to be intuitive. Think about the apps you actually enjoy using.
The ones I don't immediately delete, yeah.
What makes them so good?
They just make sense. They're easy, Like I don't need to like read a manual to reset my password.
Exactly. It just works.
Yeah.
And with banking especially, personalization is huge.
It's true. It's like everywhere else I go online, it's just like ads, ads, ads. Like they don't even know me. My bank should know me.
They should. It's about feeling understood, not like another number in the system.
Totally. Okay, so customer experience, check. What's next on this obstacle course?
Operational efficiency. That's the
Yeah.
behind-the-scenes stuff. Making those internal processes, as smooth as that customer experience.
Ah, so less time on hold, more time actually like doing what I need to do with my money.
Exactly. Think like applying for a loan and getting an answer, not in days, not in weeks, but in minutes.
Now that's the future.
It is. It's possible with the right technology.
Right. Which is probably where those ancient systems come back to bite them, huh?
You got it. It's like, imagine trying to build a skyscraper on like a foundation of sand.
Oh, recipe for disaster.
Exactly. You need a solid foundation to support that level of innovation.
Okay, so we've got like the shiny exterior, the smooth engine under the hood. What else? Challenge number 3.
Data. Data-driven decision-making. Banks have so much data, it's incredible. But they don't always know what to do with it.
It's like that saying, data is the new oil. But you gotta refine it, or it's useless.
Perfect analogy. And that's what this article emphasizes, using that data to personalize services, anticipate needs, even spot fraud in real time.
That's some next-level stuff, like a crystal ball for my money.
It's powerful when you use it right. But again, it comes down to having the right tools, the right people who understand how to use it. Otherwise, it's just dot numbers on a screen.
Just more noise, right, in our already noisy world. Okay, 2 more challenges left on our list. What's up next?
Innovation and adaptability. So this is about being open to new technology, being willing to experiment and pivot quickly.
So basically the opposite of what got them into this mess in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. This article, it talks about fintech partnerships, even blockchain. Open banking is another big one.
Stuff that probably sounds like science fiction to some of these like older institutions.
Yeah, it might. But the truth is, if banks don't disrupt themselves, someone else will. It's happening, whether they like it or not.
Adapt or die, right? Kind of a harsh but true statement in the tech world.
It's the truth.
Oh.
And that brings us to our final challenge. This one's often overlooked, but it's so important. Accessibility.
Accessibility, so like making sure everyone can actually use these digital tools.
Exactly. Thinking about people with disabilities, different languages, different levels of tech savviness. Everyone deserves access to these services.
Absolutely. Banking is not a privilege, it's kind of essential.
It is. And honestly, it's not just the right thing to do ethically, it's good for business.
Bigger customer base. Right. Makes sense.
Exactly. It's about creating a financial system that works for everyone.
Okay, so there you have it. 5 big challenges. Seamless experience, streamlining those operations, using that data wisely, staying innovative, and making sure it's accessible to everyone. That's a lot. But this article doesn't just leave us hanging, right? There's got to be a way forward.
You're right, there is. It actually lays out a 10-step guide for digital transformation, specifically for banks.
10 steps. Okay, so like a whole staircase to climb, but at least there's a path, right?
Exactly. It's a roadmap, so you ready to start climbing?
Let's do it. Hit me with those steps.
All right, 10 steps to digital transformation, huh? Sounds like a pretty intense walkover.
It's definitely a journey. And, the article makes it clear that, like, there's no one magic solution here. It's not like do these 10 things and boom, you're digital. Every bank is different.
Right, different starting points, different customers, different everything, pretty much.
Exactly. So these steps, it's more like, think of it as a framework, not a set of, like, rules you have to follow. Exactly.
Okay, so like a compass, not a GPS. I can work with that. Yeah. Exactly. So ready to dive into some of those key points.
Hit me with the good stuff. What's, like, the most important thing for our listeners to, really pay attention to?
This one's crucial. And honestly, it should be obvious, but it's amazing how many companies mess this up. Your digital strategy, it can't just be some separate thing, It's got to be woven into your overall business plan.
Right. Like if your whole thing is, we're the bank for like super tech-savvy young people, but then your app looks like it was made in 1999.
Exactly. You're sending mixed messages.
Yeah.
And customers can spot that a mile away.
Yeah. No trust there. Okay, so alignment is key. Got it. What else? What's another gem from this 10-step treasure chest of digital wisdom?
This one is so important. User research. And I don't just mean like sending out a survey and calling it a day.
Yeah, I got to go deeper than that.
Way deeper. This is about really understanding your customers. What are their pain points? What are they actually trying to do with their money? How do they behave online? And then using that information to guide every single decision you make about your digital stuff.
So less guesswork, more actually giving people what they want.
Exactly. And the article talks about all these different tools, things like user personas, creating these like almost characters that represent your different types of customers, building empathy maps, really getting inside their heads.
So it's not just, oh, they're between 25 and 34, they probably like this. It's more like, what keeps them up at night? What are their financial goals?
You got it. And that user-centric approach, it has to be there at every single step.
From building the thing to testing it out to making changes.
Every step. Because remember, it's not about building something for your customers, it's building something with them.
Collaboration, I like it. Makes sense though, right? Like, if I don't like using your app, I'm going to find one I do like.
Exactly. The competition is fierce. And that's why another key thing here, and the article really emphasizes this, is testing. Don't be afraid to try stuff, get feedback, and then change it.
So it's okay to, admit you don't have all the answers right away?
It's more than okay, it's essential. This is how you learn and improve. And honestly, that kind of openness to change, that's what customers want to see.
It shows you're listening, okay? This is all great, but of all these steps, is there one that you're like, if you only do one thing, make it this?
Out of these 10, if I had to pick one, it would be this. Build a really, really strong design system. This is what separates the pros from the amateurs, in the digital world especially.
Design system, break that down for me. What does that even mean for, a bank?
Okay, so imagine you've got this central place, right? And it's got all these guidelines, all these reusable bits of code, design elements, everything. And everyone who's building your digital products, they can access this.
So it's like everyone's working from the same playbook. No more one team going rogue with some crazy font and another one using a color palette from 10 years ago.
Exactly. It keeps everything consistent, which might sound boring, but actually it's what makes things easy for the customer to use. It builds trust because everything feels familiar, no matter what part of the app you're in.
Makes total sense. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground today. Any final words of wisdom for our listeners before we wrap this up?
Here's the thing, and this is really the heart of it all. The future of finance, it's being written right now, every single day. The choices these banks make right now, in this moment, that's what's going to determine if they succeed or get left behind. It's exciting, it's a little scary, but it's happening, whether we're ready or not.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So there you have it, folks. The future of finance is, it's pretty much in our hands. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Be sure to check out the show notes for links to all the cool stuff we talked about, and we'll see you next time.